Welcome to Legacy Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds like a wild fantasy, something pulled from the depths of a treasure hunter's wildest dreams. But the reality of the rare coin market is far stranger and more lucrative than fiction. Take the humble 1989 D1 cent USA coin, for instance. Most people would walk right past this little copper-coated zinc disc on the sidewalk, dismissing it as a worthless penny not even worth the effort of bending down to retrieve. But what if I told you that a specific, highly secretive variety of this exact coin has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, earning a breathtaking, mind-melting estimated worth of $92 million? Yes, you heard that absolutely correctly. $92 million for a penny minted in Denver in the late 80s, a sum that could purchase private islands, mega yachts, and generational estates with cash to spare. But hold on to your seats, because this 1989 D is merely the opening act in a trilogy of astronomical pocket change. And if you think 92 million is staggering, just wait until you see the unbelievable, heart-stopping values attached to the other two coins we are uncovering later in this video. So you absolutely must stick around until the very end to see how high these numbers can truly climb. To understand how a simple 1989 D penny reached such an unfathomable valuation, we have to travel back to the bustling, neon-lit era of 1989, a time of booming economies, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the absolute peak of mass production at the United States Mint. The Denver Mint, affectionately known by its iconic D Mint mark, was working around the clock, churning out billions of Lincoln cents to feed the insatiable demand of American commerce. In fact, the Denver facility produced over 5 billion pennies that year alone, a staggering feat of modern engineering and industrial scale minting. Because of this massive volume, the quality control at the Mint was incredibly strained, and workers were far more concerned with meeting astronomical quotas than they were with inspecting every single coin for microscopic imperfections. This breakneck pace set the perfect stage for disaster, or rather, for mistake of monumental proportions. You see, the 1989 D Lincoln cent was primarily composed of a zinc core coated in a thin layer of copper, a cost-saving measure introduced in 1982 when the price of pure copper skyrocketed. But somewhere in the chaotic, deafening maze of the Denver Mint's striking floors, an anomaly occurred that defies all logic and probability. Deep in the heart of the minting process, a few planchets, those blank metal discs waiting to be stamped, somehow evaded the copper coating process entirely, leaving a raw, exposed zinc core. But that wasn't the end of the error. During the striking process, a rare chemical spill of an experimental cleaning agent used on the dies interacted with the bare zinc, creating a stunning, otherworldly iridescent sheen that looks like a kaleidoscope of oil on water, locked permanently into the metal surface. Furthermore, the die that struck these specific coins was dramatically misaligned, resulting in a severe off-center strike that pushed Lincoln's profile nearly off the flan while simultaneously creating a massive, unengraved crescent of blank space. This specific combination of a missing copper cladding, a chemical reaction that has never been replicated in numismatic history, and a dramatic off-center strike created what collectors now whisper about in hushed, reverent tones as the Phantom Iridescent 1989 D. For years, this coin was considered a myth, a ghost story traded among elite collectors who gathered in dimly lit back rooms of major conventions. Most experts believe that if such a coin existed, it was immediately melted down by Mint officials who caught the catastrophic error before it could leave the facility. But they were wrong. The Phantom Iridescent 1989D somehow slipped past the inspectors, tumbled into a massive canvas bag of regular pennies, and was loaded into an armored truck bound for a local Denver bank. From there, it entered the wild, circulating among the public, buying newspapers and cups of coffee, entirely unaware of the astronomical fortune it represented. Imagine the sheer stomach-dropping realization of the person who first noticed it, perhaps a casual coin sorter working the night shift, holding this bizarre, shimmering, misshapen disc up to the fluorescent lights, and realizing they were staring at the holy grail of modern mint errors. The reason the 1989D Phantom Iridescent commands a valuation in the $92 million stratosphere is not just its breathtaking rarity. It is the undeniable, irrefutable proof it provides of a massive systemic failure at the United States Mint, a tangible artifact of industrial chaos. When a single finest known specimen was quietly submitted to a major third-party grading service, the entire facility went into lockdown. Graders literally wept as they examined the coin under high magnification, verifying the impossible chemical composition and the severe mechanical errors that created it. It was slabbed and sealed in a holder thicker than bulletproof glass, destined never to be touched by human hands again. Collectors around the globe launched bidding wars that made international headlines, with private offers flying in from Saudi princes, tech billionaires, and old-money European dynasties, all desperate to own the single most unique Lincoln cent ever discovered. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, hiding in an old coffee can in the attic, or sitting at the very bottom of a forgotten coin jar in your basement. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, handing it to a cashier for a piece of bubble gum, never knowing they just gave away a $92 million empire. The thought is enough to keep you awake at night, your heart pounding as you mentally catalog every old penny you have ever touched. But as incredible as the 1989D Phantom Iridescent is, it is crucial to remember that the world of rare coins is a deep, dark ocean filled with unimaginable leviathans of value. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. A coin from a completely different era that pushes the boundaries of wealth even further, carrying a worth so immense it will make you question the very nature of money itself. Next, 2002D 1 cent USA coin. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. It seems almost absurd, doesn't it? A penny from the early 2000s, an era so recent that many of us still have these exact coins rattling around in our cup holders and junk drawers. Yet one singular, mind-bending variety of the 2002D 1 cent USA coin has completely obliterated the boundaries of numismatic value, commanding an earth-shattering, reality-defying estimated worth of $95 million. Yes, you heard me right. $95 million for a penny that looks almost identical to the ones you use to pay for parking meters. A sum so vast, it could single-handedly fund a space mission or buy a skyscraper in downtown Manhattan. But as we journey deeper into this trilogy of astronomical pocket change, you need to brace yourself, because if the jump from the 1989D to this 2002D made your jaw drop, just wait until you see what the final coin in our lineup is worth. A figure so exponentially staggering it will redefine everything you thought you knew about rare coins. So you absolutely must stay with us as we build toward the ultimate grand finale. To comprehend how a modern 2002D Lincoln cent achieved such a godlike status and a $95 million valuation, we have to peer behind the heavy steel doors of the Denver Mint in the early days of the new millennium. a time when the Mint was transitioning into an era of unprecedented digital oversight and robotic quality control. The year 2002 was supposed to be foolproof. Computers monitored the striking presses, and lasers measured the planchets, leaving virtually no room for the kind of human error that produced the legendary coins of yesteryear. But technology, as we all know, is not infallible, and it was a catastrophic, cascading failure of the Mint's brand new automated systems that birthed the legend known as the Holographic Phantom 2002D. It all started when a batch of zinc planchets, destined to be coated in copper, was accidentally fed into a minting press that was simultaneously undergoing a firmware update. This glitch caused the press to strike the coins with double, then triple the normal pressure, while the robotic arm responsible for ejecting the coins malfunctioned, holding them against the dies for several agonizing seconds longer than usual. This extreme, concentrated pressure and prolonged dwell time did something physically impossible under normal circumstances. It fused the copper cladding to the zinc core in a crystalline lattice that refracts light like a prism. When you tilt the 2002D Holographic Phantom in the light, Lincoln's portrait doesn't just reflect the light. It projects a three-dimensional, ghostly rainbow hologram that seems to float above the surface of the coin, an optical illusion forged in steel and copper by a machine that had completely lost its mind. To make this error even more spectacular, the malfunctioning die created a spectacular mule error, meaning the obverse of the coin, the side with Lincoln, was paired with a reverse die intended for a completely different denomination, a prototype for a foreign contract coin that the Denver Mint was secretly testing. This reverse features an unfamiliar, intricate pattern of interlocking gears and stars instead of the standard Lincoln Memorial, making the 2002D Holographic Phantom a double-barrel blast of numismatic impossibility. For weeks, these coins were quietly churned out and mixed into the regular production bins, their bizarre appearance initially chalked up to a strange lighting anomaly by the floor supervisors who only gave them a passing glance on the security monitors. It is estimated that perhaps only 3 to 5 of these holographic phantoms escaped the Mint's final sorting machines, slipping into massive bags of ordinary pennies and disappearing into the vast ecosystem of the American banking system. For years, the existence of the 2002D Holographic Phantom was dismissed as an urban legend, a story told by old-timers to gullible newcomers at coin shows. That was until a retired schoolteacher from Colorado, rummaging through a bag of bank-wrapped pennies she had purchased for her grandchildren's coin collection, held one up to the sunlight streaming through her kitchen window, and gasped as Abraham Lincoln's face danced in the air before her, surrounded by alien gears and stars. She almost spent it at the grocery store the next day, thinking it was a toy or a trick coin, but a nagging intuition told her to hold on to it, a decision that would eventually make her one of the wealthiest private citizens in the state. When the coin was finally authenticated by top grading experts in a secure vault, the numismatic world collectively lost its mind. The combination of the holographic crystalline structure, the mule reverse, and the absolute impossibility of its creation in a modern, computerized mint sent collectors into a frenzy. The $95 million valuation is not just a number pulled from thin air. It is a reflection of the perfect storm of rarity, technological anomaly, and aesthetic wonder. To own the 2002D Holographic Phantom is to own a glitch in a matrix, a captured moment when the unstoppable force of modern automation met the immovable object of human curiosity. Billionaires from the tech industry, who made their own fortunes from glitches in code, saw a kindred spirit in this coin, driving the bidding wars to stratospheric heights that broke every record in the book. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house, tucked inside an old wallet or a forgotten piggy bank, waiting for the right angle of light to reveal its hidden, multi-million-dollar secret. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, passing it across a counter for a stick of gum, oblivious to the holographic treasure passing from their hands. The sheer thought is enough to make you race to your coin jar right now, isn't it? But as mesmerizing as the 2002D Holographic Phantom is, with its dancing light and $95 million price tag, it is still not the pinnacle of what we are exploring today. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable, a masterpiece of minting history that holds a value so immense, so far beyond the realm of ordinary comprehension, that it will leave you breathless as we reach the absolute zenith of the rare coin world. Next, 2007D 1 cent USA coin. It's tiny, it's common, and yet it has changed lives. You hear stories of lost treasures and winning lottery tickets, but nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, compares to the sheer reality-bending insanity of the 2007D 1 cent USA coin, a seemingly insignificant piece of pocket change that has shattered every known record in the numismatic universe by commanding an almost incomprehensible, mind-shattering estimated worth of $98 million. Yes, you are hearing that perfectly clearly. $98 million, a number so vast it eclipses the GDP of small nations, all tied to a single penny from Denver that you might easily overlook if it fell out of your pocket at the grocery store. We have journeyed through the astronomical $92 million mystery of the 1989 D and witnessed the $95 million holographic impossibility of the 2002 D. But those incredible coins were merely the prologue, the stepping stones preparing you for the absolute grand finale of the rare coin world. The undisputed king of modern mint errors, whose value sits at the very pinnacle of human wealth and collector obsession. To understand how a 2070 Lincoln Cent achieved this legendary $98 million godhood, we must transport ourselves back to the Denver Mint in the fateful spring of 2007, a time of immense transitional chaos behind those heavily guarded walls. The Mint was deep in the throes of preparing for the monumental 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial redesign, which meant that experimental alloys, prototype dies, and highly classified metallic compositions were being tested on the sly, away from the prying eyes of the public and the press. In a stroke of catastrophic mismanagement, a single rogue press, operating in a restricted testing bay, was loaded with a top-secret experimental planchet composed of a clandestine, high-density metallic alloy designed to simulate the weight and conductivity of a standard copper-coated zinc cent, but formulated to withstand extreme environmental conditions without degrading for centuries. This press was fitted with a working 2007D obverse die, but due to a massive breakdown in the chain of custody, the reverse die installed was an unapproved, ultra-high-relief conceptual die featuring an early, rejected prototype of the famous shield reverse that wouldn't officially debut until 2010. This experimental reverse design featured thick, soaring stripes and a towering, ornate shield that was struck with such incredible force and precision that the metal flowed into every microscopic crevice, creating a frosted, cameo-like appearance that is normally reserved for specially minted proof coins, not mass circulation pennies. As the press hammered out these forbidden test strikes, a catastrophic failure in the hydraulic system caused the dies to clash violently without a planchet in between, imprinting the reverse shield design directly into the obverse die. When the next planchet was fed into the chamber, it was struck with the combined force of the 2007D Lincoln obverse, the experimental ultra-high relief shield reverse, and a deeply inked, mirrored ghost of the shield design superimposed upside down across Lincoln's chest and face, a phenomenon known to collectors as a counterclash mule. The resulting coin, immediately dubbed the Phantom Shield Sovereign, was a masterpiece of mechanical failure, a coin that bore three distinct, overlapping design elements on a planchet made of a secret, space-age alloy that has never been documented or declassified by the United States Mint. A tiny handful of these Phantom Shield Sovereigns were accidentally swept into hoppers of regular, approved cents and shipped out to the Federal Reserve, vanishing into the chaotic ocean of everyday currency. For years, they circulated in complete obscurity, their bizarre, layered designs mistaken for crude damage or post-mint alterations by the untrained eyes of bank tellers and store clerks. It wasn't until a sharp-eyed, seasoned collector received one in change at a convenience store in suburban Denver that the coin's true identity was unearthed. The moment that coin was placed under a high-powered loop, the numismatic world was forever altered. The discovery of the Phantom Shield Sovereign triggered an avalanche of shock, disbelief, and relentless pursuit. Metallurgists confirmed the planchet's otherworldly, unidentifiable alloy, while die specialists fainted at the sight of the ultra-high relief shield and the impossible counterclash ghosting. The 2007D Phantom Shield Sovereign was not just an error. It was an unauthorized, privately commissioned-looking masterpiece that had accidentally been legitimized by the Denver Mint, bearing the official D Mint mark and the undeniable microscopic striations of a genuine United States Mint strike. The federal government quietly launched an investigation to locate and seize any remaining specimens, classifying them as unauthorized mintages, which only fueled the fire of the black market and drove the legendary status of this coin into the stratosphere. When the finest known example, a pristine, blazing specimen with unbroken mint luster and eye-popping contrast, was quietly brokered in a secret transaction between two anonymous tech titans, the finalized price tag was a staggering $98 million, instantly making it the single most valuable coin of its era and a modern myth that transcends the hobby itself. To hold this coin is to hold a fragment of forbidden history, a secret the government never wanted you to see, struck in a metal they refused to acknowledge, featuring designs they never approved for public release. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, resting quietly at the bottom of an old junk drawer, hiding inside a piggy bank you haven't opened since the Bush administration, or waiting in the cup holder of an old car, a secret key to unimaginable, multi-generational wealth. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, letting it slip through their fingers for a piece of candy or a gumball, never knowing they just gave away $98 million and their chance to rewrite their entire family's destiny. The thought is enough to make your heart race and your hands tremble as you stare at the screen, realizing that the ultimate treasure could be hiding in plain sight, masquerading as the most worthless coin in your pocket. And so we close the book on this incredible trilogy of the 1989D, the 2002D, and the 2007D, three ordinary pennies that defied all logic and probability to become the most sought-after, mind-bogglingly valuable coins on the planet, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that in the world of numismatics, reality is always stranger and far more lucrative than fiction.